Thank you very much, Janelle. It was my great privilege to guide students through the research process in the investigation. This involved combing through hundreds, if not thousands, of pages of government records, court proceedings, and mapping close to 10,000 spills in the province. It also involved researching and preparing questions for some very tough accountability interviews with government officials. More importantly, it involved reaching out across the province to find people with personal stories to tell and traveling around the oil patch. Oil and gas production has a storied history in Saskatchewan, and there is no denying the opportunities it has brought and the products we all enjoy in our daily lives. I'm myself from Estevan, so I know this history very well, including both the benefits and the daily dangers and problems. And I too, having that background, have often had the tendency to just brush things off or to shrug off problems as that's just the way it is. If people get hurt, it's their fault. So I come from that background as well. That perspective, I think, has been prevalent in the province. Those stories have been heard loud and clear, whether in the news media or in the highest levels of government. The students work to give space to the stories that haven't been told, and for that I think they need to make no apologies. In the process they found evidence of regulatory failure, and also evidence that there are good, responsible-minded people in government and industry who tried to make some differences but were overwhelmed by larger forces. That was the tip of the iceberg of a story that continued on through the summer, culminating in investigative articles published in the Toronto Star, the National Observer, and on Global National Television News, which we may have seen the first parts of, and there's more to come there. Those reports focused on one aspect of the students' work, which was the sour gas. And I had in my notes, we're aware that there are safety protocols for people working directly in the industry. And I was reminded of that, actually coming in the door by someone from that area. And warning signs on most, although as we found, not all sour gas locations. But that's not the issue in Crude Power or in the articles. The issue is transparency about a rising sense of alarm inside the industry and government, and a growing sense among the regulators themselves of a loss of control over oil patch safety. Not only in the sour gas area, but also the some 18,000 saltwater, oil, and other spills that have occurred since the government began keeping records. That is a story that is coming from very much from the inside, not from the Toronto Star, the National Observer, or Global TV, although they reported it. And I have read the internal documents, and not one said the situation was under control. In fact, quite the opposite in the closed meetings. This work was done with the financial support of the Michener Foundation, the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council, the Corporate Mapping Project, and our 3 media partners, with additional research support from students at Concordia, UBC, and Ryerson. It has been called the largest journalism collaboration in Canadian history. It is an experiment in what's called radical sharing, a new concept to support investigative journalism by combining the resources of groups of newsrooms and university researchers. Normally, news is a highly competitive business, so this was quite the experiment. Innovation is needed. Support for investigative journalism has been eroded at a time when our society needs it the most. Investigations cost a tremendous amount of money, not just in people power, but also, and using our project as an example, in the thousands of dollars spent on freedom of information requests, scientific equipment rental, fact checkers' wages, and the travel costs of this ongoing investigation. Increasingly, it takes a village to raise a journalism project, hence the GoFundMe address on the slide, to help continue the continued coverage, including continuing to press government officials for interviews that have been thus far refused. The published articles and the documentary you're going to see tonight will be available online starting tomorrow. The address is there. It is www.crudepower.jschool.ca. The topic that the students have raised is a controversial one, and though you may not agree with the alternative perspectives it raises, I would ask you to keep in mind that the film you will see tonight is the work of students, And these are young people who deserve our respect and support as a community. So do the family members and friends of people here tonight who have been impacted in the worst possible ways, need our respect and support for the stories that they tell at great cost to themselves. We're here to see and appreciate the work the students have done on their film, Crude Power. They have done a very brave job taking on a highly unpopular topic in Saskatchewan, and I commend them very much for their work. And now I'll introduce Trevor to introduce the film.
Let's get that up a little bit. There we go. Thank you, Trish, very much, and Janelle. So I'm going to segue just quickly from the big picture about the overarching partnership that we were involved in, and I'm going to bring us down right into what we're going to see tonight, called Crude Power. The partnership's important, but it's also important to understand that what you're about to see was the creation 90% or more of the students that are here tonight. It's a 47-minute investigative current affairs program produced by 13 University of Regina School of Journalism students, and I think it bears mentioning first-year journalism students. What you'll see in here are 4 stories from across the province that all have differing avenues of inquiry into the overarching narrative, which is basically what we were reading just before, investigation into the oil industry in Saskatchewan. The stories were conceived by our students, then debated in our class along with Trish's, and trying to work out a narrative. Pre-interview requests went out to people all across the province, government, oil industry, people that have been impacted, affected. They wrote and rewrote their shooting scripts, creative treatments, and then they fanned out across the province, all across the province in the middle of winter to film it, and then brought it back to the editor suites and spent about 4 weeks editing, rewriting. I'm fair to say there was some tears and conflict, but ultimately squeezed this out at the end of the day, which is pretty remarkable. Yeah, so some of what you'll see tonight, actually, speaking of the National Observer and the Toronto Star and Global, some of it has not been revealed as yet, and so some of the information you'll get tonight will be the first time it's been available to the public. I just want to talk about just a little bit briefly on the interview front. When we're interviewing human beings and we're interviewing government and people, professional decorum is so important because we deal with emotional issues and tough issues every single day. And I must say that they face some very, very difficult interview subjects that they had to deal with, including the families, Bunt's family who's with us here tonight. Also to conduct hardcore accountability interviews with people, not being afraid to ask the questions that a journalist should ask. I was around for some of the interviews, and I must say I was absolutely impressed with how professionally they conducted all of the interviews and how fair they were, but how well researched and prepared they were. Yeah, there we go. On a quick note, safety, just because there's parents here tonight, and when you see the film, safety is important. I've directed and produced documentaries and TV series around the world for the last 25 years. And I know things can go south, it can go badly, it can go badly very quickly. So students were going out into extremely cold temperatures. They were driving long distances after having worked a long 12 or 14-hour day, working outside and also working around industry. Any kind of industry is dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, right? So you will see some flares and so on, and some oil batteries here, and occasionally H2S gas can be emitted by them. But the close-ups you see were filmed by a drone, with our drone operator, a former student. I was there with another student, and we only stood on public ground, which is where you should be safe. And the drone just went over top. We also had a H2S air monitor with us. It was calibrated and bump tested. So all I'm trying to say is that this is an ambitious undertaking, and their safety is still a concern no matter how excited we get about the story. One quick mention about you folks. I can't state strongly enough that the reason that we're here tonight and Crude Power is here tonight is because of you, and I mean that because we are here to serve the audience, our audience, and to look to do public good. And we couldn't do that without people here, regardless of what your opinion is on what you're going to see tonight. That's what the journalism students are here to do, is to serve their audience. When the students started this project in January, they had just 12 weeks of instruction in journalism under their belts. When they finished in early April, they had 2.5 months. That calculated to about 25 years, I would guess. I say this solely because I suspect many of you will forget this is a student-produced documentary and will become fully immersed in the narrative within seconds, and I hope that is the case. Very much appreciate your coming. Thank you, and we can kill lights.
Now, Mother Earth is weak.